So now that I've gone ahead and pressed all of my seams in, I'm going to go ahead and do that edge stitch. So the edge stitch, I'm going to do it from this side so I could see the pretty side. Okay. I'm going to do it 3.5. Go ahead and we're getting like really close to that seam, that collar seam. Okay, really close to that collar seam. I'm gonna meet back up to it so I'm not worried about having to backstitch. If I do too much backstitching in that one little spot, it just becomes very bulky. And I've already pressed everything down. I just want to make sure everything is that way. Again, it gets kind of bulky right here with these seams, so I just want to make sure that I go over it nice and smooth. And it just takes practice. And by no means am I perfect, not even close. Okay, clean my threads. Remember, clean as you go. It's very important so you don't have a bunch of strings hanging out everywhere. Okay, and there is our top. It's kind of neat, huh? So let me see here. The very last step, which is step 11, is to hem the bottom. So you do the hemming of the bottom the same way you did the hemming of the armhole, the arm sleeve, the sleeve openings. You could do it the same way. Or you can cheat just a little bit, okay? And what I say is cheat a little bit is that I go through and I serge mine, and then I just fold it up an inch and then top stitch it down. So that's what I'm going to do with this when it comes to doing this. And then you've got a final product. So we've got our little tag, a little makeshift tag, see? And our front and our back, and it looks really nice. It looks really cute. Now, remember, the bottom of this is not fray. So I'm going to kind of measure it on my son before I do anything else to it. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next part of this, and that is going to be our pants. So pants is going to be next. So we're going to get piece number 6 and number 7 and do a double stitch on the inseam, like that right in here. Right in where the leg is, right in here. We're going to get one front piece and one back piece, and then do a double stitch there on both pieces, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Okay, so let me grab my pant pieces and let's get rolling. So we got our pant pieces right here. So this piece here, because it has one notch, is the front. And this piece has 2 notches. I know that this is the back piece. And then this is a front and a back here too as well. Okay, so we're going to grab them, and then we're going to put them together. So there's going to be one left side, one right side. So just kind of note, okay, this is one notch. This is one notch. Got to look for the notches here, guys. 2 notches. 2 notches, pretty sides facing me. 1 notch, pretty side facing away from me. You're going to go ahead and put these together. Okay, I'm going to put them together right here. Line up our notches. Line up those notches just like that. And we're going to go ahead and pin this all the way down and stitch it with our double stitch. Serge it and do that for both pant pieces, and then I'll come back and tell you what we're going to do next on the next part. Okay, so now that we have serged the side seams on our pants, okay, we've gone ahead and serged the side seam, okay, and that's according to step number 1. I'm going to go ahead and do that first step, okay, and now it's asking us to put pretty sides touching. Just a little bit. Okay, so pretty sides touching, and it's telling us to put the U shapes together, and that's all we're going to be putting together and sewing. It's just the U shape. So go ahead and connect these two right here, pin that right there. Okay, we're going to match up our notches, our front to our front, our back to our back. So 2 notches for the back. Okay, 2 notches for the back. Okay. One notch for the front. So you're going to go and sew. We're going to sew all through here. The entire U shape is what we're going to sew. Okay? So we're going to sew right through here, and then we'll serge it. So I'm going to go ahead and sew it so you guys can see this is all we're sewing right now. And this is a double seam as well again. So again, it's 5/8 away from the side of the fabric, and then 1/4 of an inch away from that. Okay, so that's what the seam is going to look like now. Just go all the way around, double seam from one side to the other. Then it says to cut that back, and you could do your zigzag or you could do your overlock. I'm going to overlock this. I'm going to put it on my serger and just kind of go through there. Okay, so now this is what the pants look like. It's a U shape. It's already went ahead and I stitched it and I serged it. So now on to step 3. It's telling us to do our side seam. So we're not going to just go ahead and start sewing right here because there's no way to put our legs in. So what you have to do is you have to open it up. You have to open it up like this. Okay, and you're going to put pretty sides touching, so you're going to grab the bottom one and bring it up. And then now, this is our pant leg. Now it's looking like pants. See that? And then now it's going to go this way. And then we're going to go ahead and pin and sew on this side and on this side, just like it says on step 3. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make sure we have all of our sides matching. So remember, 2 notches on 2 notches. Okay. And take it all the way down. Okay. You can pin a lot more if you'd like to on these. I don't quite pin as much as I used to, but that's okay. You can pin as much as you like to. Okay. So go like that, and then we're going to go down this seam. I'm going to do a double seam on this one as well, and then I'm going to show you what that looks like, and then we'll finish off the casing. Okay, so step number 4 is telling us to base down 3 inches of the seams. So what it's telling us is to pretty much have just one layer, and you see how your seam kind of flaps back and forth a little bit? It's telling us to have it all go in one direction so that when we go to thread our elastic, we're not catching it into the seam. So it's telling us just to take it and just stitch it down about 3 inches, all of our seams. I'm going to show you how to do that. Just open it up on just one layer. Take it. About 3 inches. And this is a basting stitch, so this stitch comes out later on. So make sure it's like at a 4 stitch length on your machine. So yes, you can see it on this side, right here, right? That's what you're doing on all of your seams. Make sure your seams are all going the same direction all the way around, so when you put the elastic in, it's not catching, okay? Like that. So do that all the way around, and then we're going to do our casing. So for our casing, I've gone ahead and just serged my top edge so I don't have to turn it in by 1/4 of an inch. I just serged it, and then I'm going to bring it down. Okay, so I've got 1 inch non-roll elastic, so I'm doing it by 1.5 inches, and I'm giving myself about 1/2 inch seam allowance from here to there. Okay, if you don't have a seam gauge, you can always use the measurements on your sewing machine and do like a guide stitch, kind of like we did when we did the hemming of the arms. My little cheats. Okay. There we go. And this side. So I'm going to do my guide all the way around so I know when to turn it down. And that's a basting stitch as well. Let's see here. So on my machine, it gives me the 1 inch mark, and then over here is 1 1/4 and then 1 1/2. So I'm going to go to this mark right here. And you can take this attachment off if you feel like it, just to kind of make it go in there. Needle came unthreaded. There you go. That's my favorite part of this whole process. My needle unthreading. Okay. Pull it off and cut. And cut. Cut my extra threads. Okay, so that's giving us our line mark of where we're going to fold it down to. And then you're going to press this so that way you have a nice clean press line all the way around. And you're just using this stitch line as your guide. And that's going to be at the top of your pants. See that? It's going to be right up here. So you're going to take it, you're going to iron it down, you're going to press it down, and then you're going to hold it down. Okay, and then the next part it tells us to do is to go ahead and stitch down here and then leave an opening for us to put our elastic through. I'm going to show you that here in a second. So now that I've pressed it down, there it is, and you see how even the rippling down here is seized a little bit. That just happens when you just press it a little bit. When it goes through the serger, it pulls on it a little bit, so next time what I'm going to do is do a stay stitch around the edge of it so that when I do the serging, it doesn't ripple as much. It didn't distort it bad at all. Okay, so I'm going to leave my opening in the back. So remember, the back had the 3 notches. So let's see here. 1, 2. Or was it 2 notches? They're in the back. This one. Okay, so I know that this back here is my back. Okay. This is the back seam, and this is my front seam. Okay, I can tell because this one's not as deep as the one back here as well. Like this one's pretty curved in. It's allowing for the room in the back. So remember, my son loves those little tags, so he knows which way his pants go and his clothes, because he needs tags. Just get a little piece of fabric, okay? And that's what I'm going to do. Put my tag, put it back here, and I'm going to pin that in place right there. And we got a tag. You don't have to go out and buy anything, just put it down. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and stitch. I'm going to leave an opening over here open. Turn this little bad boy around. Just get it out of the way. Okay, 1/4 inch away from the edge. So we're leaving plenty of room for our elastic to go in and it's not turning or getting squished or anything. Okay. Remember, let the fabric do its thing. Do not push or pull on it. Don't push or pull on it. Because this is a knit fabric. So right here it's starting to ripple a little bit. I'm just holding it down and letting it just kind of get in there. And remember where you started. Which is also helpful with the tag because it reminds me to stop before I get to it. Okay, so leave an opening, pull it out. Okay, snip all my threads, clean up as you go. There's my tag, there's my opening. Okay, now it tells us to put a piece of elastic that's comfortable measurement plus 1 inch and insert it through the opening of the lap ends. Hold with the safety pin, try it on, adjust if necessary, stitch the ends together, yada yada yada. Okay, so with your elastic, you're going to want to take your elastic and measure around your child, and then make sure it's comfortably like stretched a little bit, not too like squeezing them, but you do want it to be a little stretched when you're trying it on them. And then it says to add 1 inch. Okay, now for my son, he's not here with us, so I'm going to have to just do this off my measurements that I've taken off of him. I take his measurements every couple of months because he changes a lot. So does my daughter. And my junior. So around his waist is 25.5 inches. His hip is 26. So waist is where he's going to wear his pants, but I want to make sure the opening's at least 26 because he needs to get up. So 25.5 inches. So if you don't have the child on you, just to kind of get a good idea about what you're going to do first, let me get my safety pins from over here. Get yourself your measuring tool. Okay. Oops. Scissors down. I know, just throw it on the floor. Okay, so from here, and then you stretch it a little bit, that's 18 inches, okay? I hope you guys can see that. So I'm kind of stretching it just a little bit. I'm not stretching it like that, like crazy amount, just a little bit. So that's a good 18 inches. So that one measures 18. He use 25 and a half. I thought it was. Let me double check. 25 and a half. Okay, so now we need to measure out another 7 inches because 18 and 25 is, okay. So I'm gonna put that right here, okay, and I'm gonna stretch it out again to 7 inches. That's pretty good right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this. Whoop. That's what fell on the floor. Where are my scissors? Okay. So let me go ahead and give myself another inch and cut. Okay, so that's a piece of elastic that I'm using for my son. If that doesn't work, just use 25 inches and then take off an inch, and that should be snug enough. Might be a little too loose, but it's better than being too tight. Okay. I have 2 safety pins. I don't want my elastic getting lost in my pants. So what I do is I take one end, I put it on. Take the other end and put it on as well. Okay. And I do this on purpose this way as well, so that way I don't roll the elastic by mistake inside of it. Where's the opening? There's my opening. Okay, here's my opening, and then go ahead and take it and bring it on in. It is raining out there again. Rain, rain, rain. We're getting a lot of rain here in North Carolina. A lot of rain. Okay, keep pushing it through, and I'm making sure that I'm keeping it flat. See that? Make sure it's keeping it flat, and then I'm pulling it through when it's flat. When this gets a little closer to being almost going inside, I'll tack this down onto the pants so that I don't lose it. Take your time on this, because if you roll your elastic and you twist it and then you put it together and then you put it on and it's twisted, you gotta take it out again. I've done that a few times. Yes, I have. Just recently I made my daughter a pair of jazz pants, and I did that to the jazz pants. I was like, oh. I was in a rush. I was trying to get them done in like 30 minutes. It's like 30 minutes before class. It's like, yeah, let me whip these out real fast. That didn't quite happen. Okay, so see, this is what I'm talking about right there. See how I'm pulling it and it's about to go in. I'm going to hold this. I'm going to snag it onto this piece of the fabric. Just one side, doesn't have to be both sides. And that way when it goes in, it's going to stay right there. It's not going to go all the way inside. Keep holding it, make sure it's nice and flat. And the way to do this is make sure you're not scrunching too much at a time, like this. Try not to do too much more than that. Those are our phones. Okay. And now we've met back up. See? They've met back up. And Somebody Met Sally, one of those 80s movies. I don't know what it is. Who? Harry Met Sally. There you go. They met up. Okay. Unclick it from there. Grab onto both of them and just pull the fabric back. So they've met up together. There they go. Nice and pretty. Yay. And they're both flat all the way around. It's nice and flat. See that? Flat, flat, flat. So now we're going to stitch our pieces of elastic together. And it says to stitch them together. I'm going to show you how I like to do it so that it doesn't come apart. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do this at 3/4 of an inch. Go forward a little bit, back stitch, forward a little bit, back stitch. Okay, like that. Okay, so at this point, if you start pulling on it too hard, it will come apart. But what I do is I lay it flat on itself, like this, and then I stitch this one down and I stitch that one down. Yeah. I know you didn't like me very much. I didn't have my needle all the way up when I got started. Clean as you go. Okay. And do the other side. 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. Then that gets inserted inside, right there, and it's nice and flat, it's not bulky. Okay, and then you're going to stitch right along that side. You're gonna hold it, and you're gonna need to stretch the fabric a little bit. And it's not really the fabric, you're stretching the elastic, so that you have a flat opening where you're gonna sew. That the opening is now nice and flat, so you're gonna take it, hold it down. That's the only time I ever want to see you pulling it from the back. I don't want to see you pulling it from the back. A lot of my students, they see videos and they do see different people doing things, and they sit there and they pull it from the back all the time, and I'm like, don't pull it from the back. You're distorting it. Then you wonder why it's all wonky. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Pants. Now we got pajama bottoms. Okay, so now what's left to do is to hem the bottom of our pants. So I'm actually going to serge mine, and then I'm going to leave them like that until I can actually measure them on my son, because the whole reason I'm making new pajama bottoms is because the other ones are high water on him. So, if you don't know what high water means, it's when the pants come up to your ankles instead of down past your ankles. So when he's wearing them, it's like coming up past his ankles. This is so cute. So here we go. Pajama bottoms, pajama top. Amazing, perfect. Should take you about an hour to make from start to finish. And it's pattern See&Sew B6404. Try it out. All right. Okay, guys, so don't forget to subscribe, hit the little bell button, ask me any questions or comments. Tag me. I'm on Twitter and Instagram with @GarnerSewing with any of the creations you guys make. I would love to see what you guys make. And let me know if you need anything else. All right, guys, bye.